Hey guys, this is Sarver coming at you with a kind of a rundown or a too long didn't read version of the Video Game Awards that were on Spike TV tonight. These were the 10th Video Game Awards hosted by Joe McHale and Jeff Keighley. Just kind of a little bit of a rundown of that. Jeff was Jeff, you know, he was kind of on the show with that. And then Joe McHale was kind of almost... His jokes were very, very dry, but I guess he just has that kind of dry humor. So let's just kind of go through the games that were announced or the games that were talked about to be released or any kind of information that was revealed on the videos. Don't really care too much about the winners. I mean, they were either voted on by another group or anything else like that. And I think for the most part, most people would agree. At least there is some merit. I think the surprise of the show was the game called No Man's Sky. It's a indie team made from Europe. It's a 4-man team that was revealed tonight, and it's kind of like a massively multiplayer kind of exploration game. And they kind of cited that all the worlds were kind of unique, and they had underwater kind of immersion. You can also explore on land. You can also take to the skies and actually go into space. And they had dogfights going on and asteroids going through, so it seems like a really, really ambitious game from these developers. Really, they don't even have a website right now. They really, literally, it was just bam, VGX was announced, and they were kind of, you know, they kind of went over it. So it was kind of a sleeper hit. My impressions of the video, it seemed, I mean, for an indie game, it looked very ambitious. They had some space fighting with it, which definitely piqued my interest. I'm just hoping that they have a decent level of polish, but with 4 people working their ass off, it can go either way. So it's definitely one of the sleeper hits, and check that out. I don't think they talked about a release date, but it might be sometime in 2014, if not in the future. The next game that we talked about, which made me really, really excited, was Titanfall. What they did was they showed off 2 of the new Titans. The Strider and the Ogre. The Ogre is kind of a big tanky, has a lot of extra armor, and can tank a lot of extra damage. And the Strider is a very agile or mobile kind of unit. You know, sacrifices a lot of resilience for speed. So the fact that they were able to show off 2 different versions of Titans and the difference between the both of them was great. They also showed off a little bit of the campaign tidbit on it, and so that was really, really nice of that. They had Vince Zampella, and I forget her name, but she's the community manager on, and they kind of talked a little bit about that. No Kinect integration, and the game is what they call content lock, so pretty much it's done, right? So what they're doing now is they're kind of balancing it out, making sure that, you know, there's nothing that's overpowered, and they're trying to make sure that it's ready to go whenever it comes out on March 11, 2014. I need to ask off these for that. So really cool stuff. There's not a lot. The videos are only like 2 minutes a piece, but they kind of show a little bit more about the campaign. So definitely check that stuff out. Another game that was released, another kind of AAA title that's going to be coming out, is Bungies Destiny, which is going to be coming out on September 9th of 2014. They showed cinematic gameplay, so it was all third-person camera and a little bit of first-person. Just a lot of gameplay, and a lot of graphics, and a lot of kind of similar to the kind of Halo stuff you might have saw previously. It's kind of hard to kind of pin down what Bungie's trying to do with this game. Is it an MMO? Is it a first-person shooter? Is it co-op? It's kind of hard to kind of figure out what they actually wanted to do with this particular demo. I mean, they had some gunplay and they had some kind of spells and things like that, but you can also see grenades being thrown, and it was almost exactly like Master Chief threw them. So, kind of a really, at least to me, a lackluster kind of performance with the with how Bungie did it. But it'll be out in September of next year, and hopefully we'll know a little bit more about it. The next game that we want to talk about is the Tomb Raider announcement. They didn't announce a new Tomb Raider, which I was kind of hoping for. That would have been awesome. But what they did is they're going to be releasing the definitive edition of the game. That's going to be out on next gen for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. One of the things that they tried to do is they wanted to really up the graphics and make sure that everything ran at 1080p. They didn't talk about FPS at all. But one of the things they really wanted to focus on was making sure that Lara was digitally enhanced, right? So she's got tress effects in the hair a little bit more than maybe that was on the console versions for previous gen, and that her face is a little bit more detail. They showed some gameplay footage, but frankly the footage looked exactly the same as as the older versions. So apparently it's just kind of a reskin for the new consoles. So if you haven't played it, you'll be able to get it on the Xbox One or PS4 actually next month. I think it comes out the end of January 20th is what I want to say. So, you'll be able to get more of that there. The next game that we want to look at is The Division, Tom Clancy's new tactical army simulator coming out next year. What they demoed in the VGX was their engine, right? The game looked very, very, very pretty. They actually, they said it was one of the the best looking games that are be coming out soon. And the demo actually kind of supported that, but there wasn't any kind of gameplay. So this kind of screenshot I have right here, what they did, they didn't have any people. Literally, it was just showing how the environment and lighting and weather kind of impacts how it went, and it looked fantastic, right? So they kind of panned back and forth on, you know, whether there was ice or snow on the ground, or whether it just recently got done melting, or was snow accumulating on the vehicles. And they really did a great job of selling that. The game's going to look very, very pretty, and they also showed they did show some people shooting through like banners and kind of seeing how the light kind of shines through that. So it's a very, very pretty game. I'm just interested in seeing how the gameplay is going to be going. So that's kind of the one kind of consistent thing we've been seeing over and over again in the demos tonight. Is there's a lot of teasers, a lot of upcoming stuff, but there's not a lot of gameplay. There's not a lot of concrete what the game is going to look like. A lot of hype, a lot of build up to these games are going to be coming out pretty soon. The next game that was kind of explained was Quantum Break. This kind of scary, this kind of terrified looking woman to my right. They kind of explained that, yeah, it's kind of they explained the story portion of the game. It's kind of a experiment that went wrong regarding time, and how the time waves are broken. It kind of seems like a episode out of Doctor Who, right? So these time issues, or these quantum breaks, are making time stop and then suddenly like shift forward, which is causing a lot of death and destruction. So they wanted to advertise that it's a very cinematic experience. I think this is Remedy is the group that's doing this, so they're kind of borrowing from Alan Wake and Max Payne in terms of how they're portraying with the gameplay. I love Max Payne, I really do, but this game doesn't intrigue me at all. So I'm really hoping that they do some more, or they kind of explain a little bit more, or show gameplay, or show how it's kind of going to work. But at least right now on paper, nothing I haven't seen before. The other game that was released by I've done so well so far, and I've completely blanked out as to what this game is. It's the new game from the people that created oh shit, I got my notes right here. It's Broken Age. Thank you. So Broken Age, the people that did Brutal Legend and that kind of series right there, they kind of showed a little bit about the gameplay and the story a little bit. It's two stories that are kind of going in parallel. We're going to see one episode come out the early of next year. And the picture right here, it's Elijah Wood is actually voicing the character. I think that was a reveal. And they what they did was this boy has kind of been taken care of by this like this ship that's kind of been providing for him, and he's been taking care of him as a boy, but he's now starting to grow up and he's wanting to do adventurous things. So that's kind of the story that's really being done with there. They said half the story is going to be released like early next year, and the second half will be later than that. So it's good to kind of see Tim Schafer's work actually take some light and kind of go with there. They actually raised about $3 million in their Kickstarter right there. One of two Telltale games were actually released pretty recently. One of the ones that we want to talk about first is the new Game of Thrones Telltale gaming series from Telltale, and I think this was kind of leaked or at least alluded to earlier in the week, but apparently there's going to be a Telltale type of game backed by the Game of Thrones universe, and you know, Telltale is really good on trying to, you know, make you regret some of the decisions you made, but they're trying to leverage elements from their current story and then either do side stories or go down other routes. And, or they don't know exactly what their characters are, but at least the interviews of what it seemed like is that they just got it green lit and they really haven't started working on it too much yet. They're still kind of drawing storyboards and stuff like that, but they say it's going to be released next year. You Game of Thrones fans are going to be very, very excited about that. The other thing that was released is a Tales from the Borderlands game series. So Telltale is also getting really their hands dirty with an episodic adventure regarding the Borderlands series. So the video kind of showed two unnamed kind of people that weren't vault hunters, and they went up to Marcus and they kind of put some sort of device down on his desk, and Marcus goes, "Do you want to do this?" And then Handsome Jack shows up and says, "Hey, you kind of want to do this." So it's kind of a hint that it's supposed to maybe run parallel to Handsome Jack's kind of shenanigans, or maybe just before the Vault Hunters show up. So I'm kind of interested in this game, but I want to know more, obviously. And I don't think they announced a release date. I literally think they just teased it, so it could be out next year, a little bit after that. One of the other games that was released or that was talked about was Thief. This is kind of a reboot from the Thief series that were back on PC games. I really don't know a whole lot much about Thief. I didn't play too much of it, but if you really liked it, the game looked pretty. At least on all the videos that I watched, it was really, really dark though. But they kind of showed a seance going on, and this woman falling through, and she dies, and then this thief needs to redeem himself, which is kind of weird because he's a thief. But that's something that was able to be there as well. And one of the last things I kind of wanted to talk about was the new Donkey Kong. The new Donkey Kong game that's coming out. It's back. It's like Tropical Freeze is what it's called, and they kind of advertised that there's supposed to be like a 4-player co-op to it. One of the big reveals was that Cranky Kong was going to be playing, and he gets around on his walking cane, but he's kind of on a pogo stick. And Reggie's Philomes was kind of teased by Jeff the entire time, but they kind of showed some gameplay, and it looked pretty, and they kind of boasted how Wii U is still doing very, very well. So so they're kind of, I think the game's supposed to come out next year. I don't think that they released a definitive date, but it looks like about February 2014. So that's kind of a too long didn't read version of the Video Game Awards that were released tonight. One of the things too is that Steam is actually holding a sale. I know they're holding it right now as I'm actually uploading this video to YouTube, but I don't know how much longer they're going to be hosting the video, so or hosting these sales, excuse me. So if you guys want to head to Steam to actually buy a lot of these games up to 75% off, some of the biggest sales are BioShock Infinite at $10. Borderlands 2 Game of the Year is 50% off. It's $30 right now, and some of the other games that were featured during the awards were on sale as well. So if you guys like this video, give me a like and subscribe, and follow me on my other stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it.